Hello, hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Mind. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning, and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart,
Yeah, yo.
and me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes, please. Let us do that.
Okay, so, new week.
Yep.
Let's just jump right into it. Checking in. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Just starting to get my mind wrapped around moving and stuff like that.
Oh yes, yes. I don't think we announced this that you finally we were talking about. We had a whole episode
Yes.
on finding a place in Toronto, and then yeah, we didn't share the news.
Yes. Yes, I didn't share the news. That is correct. And I'm sorry about that, listeners. But yeah, so we did find a four-bedroom townhome and we're excited to move in. I mean, the whole moving process sucks, but
Oh,
once we get where we're going, I'm sure we'll make it home.
hmm,
I can't complain.
awesome. Well,
How about
congrats on getting your new home. Or
thank you, thank you. Hmm.
we knew we all heard how challenging it is. But
It's
congrats on that.
a lot.
um, I'm doing okay. I started to get back into getting a workout and built into my day.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
trying to work out a system because I know that seasonal depression is real, and so
Oh,
I need to
is
like
it ever?
make sure that I structure my days to be have a balance of everything. Like obviously work is always there, but sometimes work you don't want work to take up your whole day, right? So it's
No.
like I make sure that I do something uh at least active and that like boosts my mood so much. And because I work from home um half of the week, let's say, it's easy to build that in like around my lunchtime. I usually try to block off my lunchtime and kind of
Mm-hmm.
get in like a 40 minute 30 minute
Workout.
30 to 40 minute workout. So I started doing that and definitely it's super helpful. And now the next thing I have to do is find something to do on the weekends in the morning so I don't just waste my day. I have a tendency to, especially Saturdays, like it's really hard for me to get going on a Saturday because you just
It's a
want to
Saturday.
enjoy sleeping in. But I think I
Right.
should still do something like find like a class or something to do like on a Saturday
I
morning, like
I
11,
agree.
nothing too early. But
Very.
anyway, that is good. It was other than that, that was like a new development, and I'm hoping to stay consistent with that.
That's good. That is good. And you should always find things to keep your life balanced. I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into the headlines. I'm going to start with okay, one of the big things that came out last weekend was the fact that comedian Dave Chappelle was going to be hosting Saturday Night Live. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's his second time that I can remember. And there was leading up into that day, so the week before, there was a lot of news and publicity and like a lot of there what not a lot, but there was some groups that were not so happy about that, namely, as we can imagine from his last special, The Closer. The trans community was very
Oh,
vocal,
I'm happy with him.
and that was about, of course, that was really the only group uh, that was like, I think, really gung ho about him not being on the show. But
Mm.
um, and then they had okay, so yeah, so that was a group that was upset, which is no surprise because they were the most vocal about his last special. But there was a writer, but I feel like they were kind of blowing the media was blowing out of proportion because there was like you're like, oh, the writers are boycotting the show, blah 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 blah. I actually did my research on this to be like how bad was like the internal fighting on having him host, and
Mm.
it was literally one writer. And like from what I could see, it's not a writer that's like responsible for like a massive amount of skits on the show. So
Right?
I mean, not that I'm not trying to downplay, but it's also like the news did kind of overdo it, make it because I'm here thinking when you say writers, I'm like, oh damn, writers are
Right?
important for this show. Like, what's gonna happen? But when I dug a little deeper, like it said, there was like over like there's about 20 to 30 writers who were on the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was one or two people who decided to opt out, I mean, that's their right.
Right.
It's not going to create a blip on the quality of the show. And from what I hear, it didn't. I only saw his monologue, which is what most people are talking about. I didn't actually watch the episode itself to see the skits or anything.
Right.
I do know that there was a House of the Dragon skit with all his old Chappelle show characters like Ashy Larry, the
Mm-hmm.
blind racist guy. Um, so that was pretty interesting. But yeah, and so two things that I've seen since it's happened. Here's my personal take on the monologue. There was some because he obviously here are the main themes. Obviously, he talked about the whole drama that's going on with Kanye and Kyrie, and very humorous dialogue on it, of course. And then he talked about Trump, and then he spoke about, I think, censorship, specifically to what he does in comedy, or being a comedian, right? And that's a common conversation or dialogue we've been hearing for the past, I would say, 3 or 4 years at least. It's been top of mind.
Right.
And I feel like I could understand there was some backlash from people in the Jewish community saying that it continued the anti-Semite sentiments that were shared, some of the anti-Semite sentiments that were shared by Kanye and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like it. He was very careful in what he was trying to say. I'm not gonna interpret it for our listeners. I think everybody should listen and have their own response. I'm not gonna. It's not for me to be like whether somebody should be angry or not. If the ADL, which is the Anti Defamation League, which is like, I think that's like the Jewish organization in the U.S. that, like, and yeah, and anyway.
Well, for me, you know what? I went and listened to Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live, and his host,
Mm,
like his, I didn't think it was terribly offensive. Um,
mm-hmm,
I've heard worse. Um,
yeah.
I thought that he pinpointed what he had to say in a very clever way. But there was one comment that I want to bring everybody's attention to. This man said, I've been in the business for 35 years. There are two words that you cannot say together in the same sequence, and that is the Jews. And he learned that in his career. So when he was
Mm-hmm.
discussing Kanye and his comments as well as anti Semitism, he treaded lightly. And
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
he was
I
careful.
he was very careful, but still he's there to express himself through comedy. This is his job.
Mm-hmm,
This is what he does for a living. So I think we should give him a little grace. And when did when did when did our society stop laughing? Like when did we stop finding things funny, finding things not so deep, you know?
mm-hmm.
Where Dave Chappelle feels like he has to tread water right through his whole monologue. When did we lose our sense of humor? So I overall with what Dave Chappelle did, I really don't think it warranted this type of a reaction. I really don't. But they're
Yeah.
gunning for all
I
black men right now. So all black men of any
ooh,
power,
hot take.
they're gunning for you. Sorry, I'm gonna
Hot
call a
take.
spade a spade. So they're gunning for you. So mind
I
what you
think
say.
I think I think it was just he stepped into the fire and there was a lot of eyes the minute he
But why is
mentioned
the
those
fire
two
still lit?
people.
That's my question. Why is the fire still lit? Do you know how many
Interesting.
black men have died in the last since this all started? just on a regular
Mm,
day. So why is the fire still lit? That's my question. So, it's still lit because they're gunning for black men of power. I'm sorry. Maybe other people might not agree with me,
mm,
but I'm noticing a trend here. I'm noticing a trend here, and even someone like Dave Chappelle, who is a comedian by trade, he has to
mm.
step lightly, tread water. He has to. He cannot be himself in his skits. So why is the flame still lit? That's my question. But anyway,
But do
that's
you
just
think?
what I'm
But do you think they're inviting that fire based on the topic?
saying. Here's the thing: is that why is he not allowed to express his views? Like, why is he not allowed to express his views on what is transpiring in our culture? Just like how
Mm-hmm.
we have views and we're talking about it, why can't he? I understand the difference. Don't get me wrong. We're not
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
breath, he's still a human being that deserves to have his opinion. And I feel like he went about expressing his opinion in a very
Mm-hmm.
comical way. Um, he was very careful with his words, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't see anything that, and I watched the entire thing. I didn't feel anything was really offensive, because I come from an
I
era
guess, yeah.
where
Well, it's not for
comedians
us
were
to
really
say. We can't
offensive.
really say. We, I have to kind of look and see what like the Jewish community is actually saying that why there's backlash. But I mean, we'll just continue to
But
read on
why?
that. But I just
Why?
hope that there could be
But why
less.
is it that
Huh?
everybody else is? Why is it that everybody else is allowed to have their opinion on this, and we're ripping apart every person who is of color who has an opinion of this? Like, everybody else gets
Hmm.
to talk their opinion of how they feel about this topic, whether they're, whether they are Jewish, or they're white, or they're, Hispanic. Everybody else gets to have an opinion. But when it comes to the black man's opinion, it gets like real, like to the point where it's over critiqued. So that's just how I feel about that. But I'm
Okay.
starting to get tired of this whole conversation. But anyways,
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, so let's move on. So this week the Swifties were up in arms. The Swifties were very angry and upset. I believe Taylor Swift announced her upcoming concert this week, and she had some pre-sale tickets available. So I'm assuming people who are on her mailing list or something. I don't know. There's some privilege, I guess, some people have to get pre-sale tickets, and it looks like they launched a verified fan pre-sale for her upcoming Eras tour, and they are able to sign up for a lottery. Fans were able to sign up for a lottery type drawing, so a draw, to be able to be eligible to purchase pre-sale, like purchase tickets early, I guess. Those that were notified were emailed and they got a code, and that would give them the opportunity to put it in and do the pre-sale tickets. So apparently, not too long after that time came on, like it was launched at 10 a.m., everybody was complaining because the site crashed. And I mean, I know Taylor Swift is very, 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 very popular. She's like right now in terms of modern day artists, like she's up there. She's
yeah,
definitely
very
top
much so.
five, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, I agree.
And so Twitter was like the fans were dying. So some of the tweets I came across were um they were like, are the Swifter did the Swifties just crash Ticketmaster? This
Ah,
is a nightmare. How is Ticketmaster always shocked that their site can't handle heavy traffic, as if it doesn't crash for every big act, especially Taylor Swift? Well, apparently, like, I didn't know this. I'm learning from this incident that I guess I'm here thinking Ticketmaster is a big site. It's the place to buy concert tickets,
it has been for
sports
decades. Like, I don't
sports
even know
events.
Like they need to upgrade
Like,
this system.
why the hell is their site so bad? Like, that's what's
I
unacceptable.
I,
I
I
feel they're
don't
leaving the door
understand.
open for another company, some competition to come in
Yeah,
and take some of their
yeah.
business, because this is massive news. Like, this were I typed in Taylor Swift Ticketmaster to get some notes for this episode, and every major news site had a story on this. This is how bad it is. I even saw on Twitter talks of suing users suing Ticketmaster because after the site crashed and people were able to get access again, half of the seats were already sold, and most likely people assume they're from ticket aggregators like StubHub, where they buy the tickets in bulk to do bulk and resell the tickets much more expensive, which is not good. That's not good business ethically. It's a bad look.
Yes, it is. But you know what? Ticketmaster, I need you to get your system in check. Like, I don't understand. It blows my mind away. This is Ticketmaster. They've been around for donkey years now. I don't understand why they're having such issues with their site. I mean, they should be prepared for this. So I kind of side a little
Yeah,
bit with the fans. I do kind of.
no, I do. Like, it's
However,
unacceptable.
yeah, but let's just calm down, people. Like, let's just calm. It's just a concert.
No,
Like, yeah, I
these are
understand.
Swifties. They're
I get it. They're Swifties and they like their Taylor Swift. I get it. I totally understand. But to sue over this, like, come on. Like, really? Come on.
Yeah,
And
you didn't lose any money.
you didn't exactly, you didn't lose anything. At the very most, what, you don't get to see the concert? Okay. I mean, there's so much going on in the world right now that we should be focused on, people. I don't know. Suing over Taylor Swift tickets, I don't know. Don't, cram up our judicial system with the nonsense, please. Really and truly. But anyway, that's the states for you. But hey, I know there's lots of Canadians that are probably going to, but really it's not that serious, guys. This is Ticketmaster, but I will say to Ticketmaster, if you're going to sell tickets for big, A-listers, get your website ready
Get
before
it
the
ready.
before the news is announced. Get it ready. What you doing? You're just wasting people's
Hmm,
time here and getting people all riled up and all upset for nothing, man. There's no need for that. So
exactly.
get yourself ready. Get yourself ready next time. Hopefully they'll learn a lesson.
Okay, so I don't know what the Swifties are gonna do, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. Concerts happening. Don't worry, people. You'll be there. All right. So the next story is kind of sad. It's been really huge across social media. It's now mainstream media is picking it up, and it's about this young woman named Shanquella Robinson.
Yep.
Her picture has been everywhere. Beautiful young lady, 25 years old, from North Carolina, I believe. And she was found dead in a Mexican resort. And why this is, listen, people going on vacation and dying, that's not necessarily new, unfortunately,
Yeah.
particularly in Mexico.
Yep.
I'm not trying to spread any bad news, but I mean, there are a couple other stories where some
Yep. This is
people
not the first. This is not the first.
that turned up dead in Mexico as well. Not from any locals or anything, but suspicious behavior going on, right? Anyway, so what makes this story really stand out is she was there with her friends, a group of friends, and
Mm.
she was found dead only 24 hours after arriving in Mexico. Within 24 hours of Mexico,
How
being
does
in
that
Mexico, this young lady was dead.
how
And
does that
so what is bone chilling to me, might like literally turn my blood cold, is her friends called her mother and even went to her house to drop off her luggage and cry
Oh,
with her mother and told her it was alcohol poisoning, right?
you're lying.
When, yeah, yeah, they did.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
they were
that.
all up her face. They talked to her. They were on they even went and dropped her luggage off.
You're up here with my mom?
And
Oh,
they told her like she wasn't feeling well and that it was alcohol poisoning. And I believe even the Mexican authorities, when I believe when the mom spoke with people on the phone, they said they were on those lines. However, when the death certificate was released to her family, that revealed that the cause of death was severe spinal cord injury and
Jeez.
atlas luxation, which
Meaning they
pretty much
beat the
means
crap out of her, man. They beat the crap out of her. 'Cause how do you break those two?
yeah,
How do you break your neck? Like, stop. You know what I mean?
exactly. So that's blunt. It's like blunt force trauma. Like you're not gonna some foul play was there was some foul play for sure, right? Unfortunately, there is a video going around now that shows her naked and her friend, one of her so-called friends. I don't
Yeah.
know. This is a beast. I don't even want to call her
What? There's
a friend.
speculation she's a man. There's
She's
speculation
a
she's a
beast.
man that beat this
I
girl.
don't know. I think people are just. But anyway, so this woman is just like pummeling her, and the girl is like, she's
She's not defending
clearly
herself.
probably it. She is definitely under the influence. Who knows, drinking or what else they were doing there. So the girl is like literally just getting pummeled, and she's buck naked, and the woman is just relentless. Even she gets on, she falls, the girl's kicking her. It was very violent, and the person who's videotaping, a man at that, is saying, Shaquella, Shaquella, fight back. And the girl's like, no. But obviously, she wasn't even in the capacity to fight back from what I could see. So not only is it's bad enough that she's buck naked and this person is like pummeling her, but she's not even like sober and in the right mind to defend herself. And why the hell are you guys fighting anyway? Like, what the hell? Like, anybody listening to this, get
Sorry, Jeanette, to cut you, but what I heard with the story was that there was no alcohol found in her system at all.
okay.
But then
I don't know. Maybe.
I found out today, I'm hearing different stories about this all and why she didn't
Mm,
fight back. And
yes.
there was somebody that I think one of the people that were there, part of this group of people,
Mm,
um, put in an anonymous letter to I forget the publication, sorry, but they
mm,
basically there's an anonymous person who was a part of this actual group that said
mm,
the reason why she did not fight back, which I find to be very strange, right?
mm,
Knowing where she's from, her not fighting back, why wouldn't she fight back? And it was because supposedly she put a hit out on this young man's head back home in North Carolina. He actually was killed and died. And because she felt so guilty, she let the girl beat her up. That's the story I'm hearing. Truth, I don't know. I don't know if it's true and I don't
yeah,
know if
she
it's
doesn't
not
look
true.
sober.
But
She
but
definitely
from
doesn't
what
look
we're
sober.
hearing, this whole
Mhm.
but this when you say sober, how is it that we're lying so like the Mexican
And that
police
does it
were
doesn't
lying
to
about it?
me. I'm not mentioning the fact that she doesn't seem sober as to say that there was any truth to, like, I don't that I think that's inconsequential. I don't care what she was on. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
No,
this
you
woman
should
was
not be
pummeling
doing
her.
something like this, right? You should not
Yeah,
be doing
yeah.
it's not, you're right. And so therefore the story that I'm hearing about her putting a hit on some young man's head back in North Carolina kind of makes a little bit more sense as to why this young lady would not be fighting back. Um Maybe she hit her head in the course of being beat up. And so
Yes,
therefore
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
and
I'm
therefore it
pretty
seemed
sure.
like she was
Mhm.
intoxicated to authorities or some I don't even know where the intoxication part came in. I really don't. I think that was
No,
a
she
whole
definitely
lot of
doesn't look
lies.
sober. She doesn't look sober. I
But if
see the
somebody
video. I watched it, and
but if
it's like
somebody
that's
hits
not
their head
somebody.
but if someone
Mm,
hits their head, Jeanette, and they're
mm,
cloudy, they could almost
mm,
resemble someone who's intoxicated, right? So
Oh, so she might have fell before the
she could
girl
have
started
she
hitting her.
yeah before she started beating her down, she could have hit her head
Mm,
against something
yeah.
and is
But anyway,
like
I want
bound
to
to
pause
not
there.
lift it. Yeah.
I just want to stop here and say I don't really want to speculate on what happened. I kind of want to stop.
No,
We're
no,
kind of
but
going in that direction. So
yeah,
what I want to stop at is that I think the main issue here, I whether it was a setup where there's a lots of rumors. I don't really want to speculate about the rumors. We'll see. But I think what we do know is that she died from a spinal cord injury. It was a planned trip with these group of people, and that they tried to hide the fact that they were responsible for her death. And now, getting this information, the FBI are now involved and they are investigating. But from what I've read, it seems like Mexican authorities are not being
They're not being
um,
cooperative. They're not
very
being cooperative,
cooperative. I mean, we have
and
the
they've
death
been lying
certificate.
about it. They lied about it.
I feel like at the end of the day, if the FBI is involved and it was American people who are involved in the death, then like what's the issue? Like to me, it's like they're back in America. But I guess yes, you do need to have some type of cooperation from Mexican authorities, and I think that seems to be the holdup. But I have no doubt that these people will be implicated, just based on the fact that that was the report, the video. There's video evidence, so it's like they're screwed. Like since there's a video, the fact that if there was no video, we would all just be speculating, right? But now that we actually see a video, it's like there's going to be somebody's going to be implicated, and I think they should all be everybody who lied and participated
They
in
should
that
all
lie.
go down for it.
All they should all go to jail.
Every
I don't give a
single
shit.
one that was in that hotel room, that was
Mm-hmm.
around that girl, that was a part of this party.
Anybody who was a part of that story, I don't even need you to be in the room. Anybody who just went along with that story.
Well, no, anybody in the room. Anybody in the
Yeah.
room. There's no way, the way this girl was beaten down, that
Mm-hmm.
anybody in their right mind that was in that room that heard anything wouldn't have known what they should have done. They should have called the
Yes.
police. So because they
Yeah.
didn't.
They should.
But you're right. One thing I don't want to do is speculate on all of the other
Mm.
drama, because at the end of the day,
Yes.
this young girl's life is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Her life is gone. So my prayers go out to her family, particularly her mother, because she was quite close with her mom. And
Mm-hmm.
her mom just thought, my daughter's going on a vacation and she's gonna be back in a few days. This wasn't a 2 week vacation. This was supposed to be just for a weekend. Okay, so
Mm-mm. Okay.
to know that this has happened, but either way, prayers up for her and for her
Yeah, and her
family,
family.
and even for her, that her soul is at rest now, even with the
Oh.
tragic way that she died. I pray that your soul is at rest, my dear. So but one thing we do need to talk about with that is
Mm-hmm.
frenemies. We need to talk
Friend,
about
that's what.
frenemies.
Okay, I have it. So we're going to talk about frenemies, and I'm also going to because particularly here's my take on this, and this again, when you're young, when you're in your 20s, you have there's a lot of people you call friend
Yep.
because you go out with them, you smile and laugh with them, but particularly with women, I can't speak to guys because I'm not a guy, I don't know, but with women, sometimes they like to have, there are some girls who just like the idea of having lots of friends or being around certain people. They're not your friend. They've shown you signs that they're not your friend, but you still continue to go along with the farce. And on
Right.
top of that, these people look ratchet as hell.
Yep.
For this to even happen, what kind of people were these? I don't know. I don't know Shanquella, but to me, I get a classy vibe. But at the end of the day, I don't know her, so I'm not going to assume. But still, like, she seemed like the mere fact that she didn't, and then that's speculation. Either way, these people are not quality people to be around, and
Nope.
stay away from the ignorant people. They may be fun and you get jokes, but they once if you're ignorant in public in certain places, what's to stop them from doing that to you?
Not a
That's all I have
damn
to leave it
thing.
at.
Not a damn.
Yeah, what were you gonna say about frenemies? Do you want to add anything?
Yeah. Quickly, I'll talk about frenemies. Is first, beware. Beware. Know how to identify them and run the other way. Understand? Those are the three things that you need to do when you're dealing with frenemies. I don't believe in frenemies. There's some people out here who can be friends with people that don't like them or are jealous of
Mm,
them, or things like that. I'm not one of them. I
mm-hmm,
need a real deal spade in my corner. I don't want to know that I have to look over my shoulder at my supposed friend. Okay? No,
mm,
not going to rock with me. So my suggestion to all those people out there, and just a cautionary tale. This is a cautionary tale here, people. Let's not,
Yeah.
okay? First, beware of frenemies. Learn how to
Mm-hmm.
identify who they are in your life. Learn. That's
Yep.
part is learning how to identify, because you might be wanting to be a part of a group or a part of a clique or whatever, and you think that these people are your friends, so, and they're not. So you have to learn how to identify. And my last thing is, when you have identified these people, run the other way.
Run.
You understand me? Run the other way into the hands of Jesus, because that right there, you don't want to be a part of that, because people who don't have any good intention for you, look at this young lady. Look at this. So be aware, people, be aware. But there's lots of frenemies out here, eh? And
Oh yeah.
getting harder and harder to detect. You know,
No, I feel no. You know what I think? I think when you're in your 20s, it's like
yes,
you
yeah,
don't pay attention. You have it's somebody you have a good time with. It's like you don't notice the small things. I feel like when you get older, like when you get into your 30s and people, real life is really happening, they will filter out naturally sometimes. But even if they don't filter out, you are wiser, and after years of being around a friend of me, your eyes have to open. Your eyes have to open to be like, this person is not a real friend to me. This person is
I
just
need to
bringing.
run. I need to run
Yeah.
the other way into the hands of Jesus.
Mm,
Let me tell you,
yeah.
because these people don't have any good intention for you, even if they
Mm,
wanted to. So
yeah. Yep.
uh, for whatever the reason, and as far as I'm concerned, I really don't care what the reason is. This is just absurd. But you know what? Rest in peace, my girl. Rest in.
Yeah, rest in peace. Oh, praying for her family that they'll get justice.
And last
All
thing I
right,
say,
so
sorry, one last thing is that everything is on camera now. Everything can be filmed. It's a click of a button for it to be publicized. People, watch how you step. Watch what you're doing. Everything can be recorded. Look, they recorded the attorney general. Okay, they recorded the other side's case. Okay, you just record.
yeah,
You might as well give yourself a sentence. Okay, you just prove
yeah, no, exactly.
your guilt. Like, this is,
Your
so
guilt.
yeah, everything can be recorded. Everything. So when you think that it's not, and the fact that these people had the nerve to record it, but hey, be aware, everything can
I
be
hope they throw them under the jail.
underneath the jail. That's right, underneath the jail. Yes, but anyway,
Okay, we're gonna that's our headlines today. Music news. I'm gonna talk about the Grammy nominations next week. They came out a couple days ago. I want to talk about them, but didn't have enough to catch up for this episode. So next week I'll talk all the Grammy wins and snubs and everything in between. Lots of politics as usual.
but we do
All
want
right,
to mention
so we'll get into it.
the Toronto
Huh?
teacher situation. We want to talk about the Toronto teachers.
Oh yeah, I skipped that. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, so in Toronto, something that's happening over here and affecting us is the teachers, I think assistants or supports or whatever
Support staff.
are the support staff. Yeah, so the support staff in the Toronto school boards um are striking, and it's already affected us 1 week,
Yep.
and it's happening again this coming week. Supposedly it's looking like it's gonna happen so far. And it's unfortunate. Like, we know teachers, no matter where you work in the world, teachers are always an under supported profession.
Oh,
And
I agree.
it's they do a very essential they play a very essential role in society, but they're not necessarily compensated as such. And now these are their support staff in the system that are had some demands. and it's getting people in a city very frustrated.
Yep.
And you, as a parent, Kim, how did that affect you when it first had the strike?
Well, I'm in a better position than a lot of people because I do work from
Hmm.
home often. So,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
during that strike, when it was on the Friday, I was already working from home that Friday. So it was okay. It's not okay because either which way, my daughter had to go online for synchronized learning, and it was all right, but it put me in a place
Hmm.
where it was really like it's hard because I'm working and she needs my help, and it's hard to help her all the time while I'm working. And then there's the
Hmm.
regular day stuff. Like I have to make sure I get her lunch and, get my lunch. And so it can be challenging. But like I said, I don't want to complain too much because I am in a better position than most. And I'm thankful for that.
Hmm.
Now, come Monday, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I'm supposed to find out by 5 p.m. on Sunday evening. And I'll be honest, with not knowing is the part that really frustrates me. Uh,
Yeah.
being on the edge, not being able to really plan my daughter's week kind of is frustrating, and the inconsistency for these kids' school year is also frustrating because their academics are suffering. It's already been stated, even from the Board of Education, that the kids are very far behind. They are because
Yep.
of this COVID and being, at home more, and some kids never went returned to school until this year. So to put them farther behind, it really is frustrating that their academic year is being disruptive this way. You know, so we'll see how it goes. 5 p.m. on Sunday, I'll be tuned in to the news that I don't usually watch, but I will be watching because I
Hmm.
need to know what's going on. Am I taking her to school or not? Now, for me, again, come Monday, if they decide to strike, I'm home and I'll be okay. But there's lots of people who don't have that option, and I feel for them. I really, really do feel for them because it's not a position that you have to decide between working so you can feed your family or staying home with your child because you have to. You don't have a choice, right? So it's not just this the teachers that are not there. All Any before and after care not there either. So
Yeah.
you're out. I'm on my own as far as I'm
Hmm.
concerned to the school, and what they care. But it's not fun. But I don't know. They have to come to some sort of a compromise, a healthy compromise where everybody can be happy. I know that's hard. It's easier said than done, but it has to
Yeah.
be done because these kids need to go back to school. It's almost Christmas. It's almost Christmas.
Hmm.
So Christmas is another how many
This
weeks where they're out of school. Like it's a shit show. It really is.
I think that sums it up. It's a shit show.
It is. It is. It really is.
S- so it looks like, yeah, and the support and the people that are actually striking. Just for those who don't know, it's educational assistants, librarians, custodians, secretaries, and the early childhood educators, which we in Canada, or at least in Ontario, um, we use them in our. They're eligible to teach a kindergarten classroom. And aside from pay, it's not necessarily just pay now. I think they're more focused. I think they got the pay raise with the last week's stoppage, but
Right.
now they have some other demands around um classroom sizes and staffing levels, so I guess, people, there's a lack of resources and everybody's overworked, so they want some increased staff and support. So we'll look at on that story. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's with these things, it's so unpredictable, but
Yeah,
I hope they.
every
Mhm.
industry is looking for help right now. They're not the only one.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
industry is short. Every industry,
That's
needs more
true.
staff. So really and truly, miss me with the bullshit. But anyhow, that's just my parents' opinion. Moving on. People here today.
Obviously, yeah. Okay, well, Yeah, we'll move on into our first segment, which
Yeah,
is Wagwan for real. In this segment, we look at stories that just don't add up. They don't make much sense. We hear them, we watch them, and we have to ask the question: What Wagwan for real?
for
What
real.
is happening? And so this week, we're going to talk about somebody I haven't talked about in a while. He was a feature last summer,
Sure.
but we talked about him a lot at one point. But anyway, DaBaby, rapper DaBaby, and
Okay.
there's been a few stories that came out. There's been a few stories that came out in the past couple 2-3 weeks. I'd actually say the past month or so, and which would indicate to me here my take. I think the baby's career is taking a nosedive. I think
Yeah.
his career is in jeopardy.
No, his
He is
career's done.
in deep, deep doo doo, and this is like year. I guess when was the AIDS thing? I don't even know if it was. I think it was last summer when he was talking about. He made that comment about you
Homosexuals
know,
and not
yeah,
having AIDS.
AIDS. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the connection there,
Um.
that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But Jeanette, like honestly,
Mhm.
he has to have known that when he was giving that concert, the words that were coming out of his face were a career canceller. Like, how could you not
Uh,
know that those words are a career canceller? Like, how?
Here's what I think. You know what? I don't think that was the nail in the coffin. I think that has definitely affected him and has affected his money. I do not doubt that. But I'm sure he thought he was in the clear. Even I was like, he looks like on the outside, he seemed fine. I think that I'll tell you what was a nail in the coffin. That was a gunshot. That was the first shot. That was a hit for
Yeah.
sure, right? He took a huge hit with that. But I think the nail in the coffin, honestly, was he when he put that song about Meg, when he made
Yeah.
that song talking about how, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was a nail in the coffin. It was probably things slowed down, but I think this was it.
So,
I
okay. Does this man, does he really think that he's the shit? Like, to the point where he doesn't have to be, like, he really doesn't think that he deserved to be canceled, because his attitude towards the whole situation still seems
Yeah,
very arrogant. Like, he still seems
it's
very
very
arrogant.
arrogant. Yeah,
Like, I don't think he
it's like,
realized
yeah,
what's going on. Like, you're done.
he's
You're a done
he's
deal, bro.
drowning, and the
No,
thing
you're
is
done.
he's literally like all the signs, like, I mean, sometimes people, I don't even know if it's like he's just fronting because he has to, like he literally has to, or I don't know, I just feel like there's no way you don't know, bro. There's just
Well,
no way you don't know.
this is why we have to ask the question, Wagwan,
Wagwan
for
for
real.
real.
Do you really think that, like, for real, like, I'm sorry. The baby, I'm not saying that you didn't make a couple bops and stuff that people don't mind pumping, but
Yes, definitely.
the type of hatred and rhetoric that you had coming out of your spewing out of your face, and then double down on it, and then, like a true immature man, you don't apologize. Your apology is
Mm.
so lackluster. It's like, really? First of all, can you sit up in the damn bed? Do you ever do anything sitting up in the bed? Sit up and
His Instagram
apologize,
videos.
okay? Yeah, like, sit up, man. I don't understand this. But it lacked a lot of luster, and on top of that, it was very insincere. You could tell he is full of himself. But bruh, you're that full of yourself? Well, I'm sure you surely got put back into your spot, because guess what? You can't even sell 10,000 tickets. Because just the other day,
Yep.
this is the marker that his career is a bust. If you can't
Yep, pretty much.
sell
And
out
he
40
released it.
tickets,
Hmm.
your career's a bust. It's a bust. Not, you sold out of 14,000 tickets, 500. And I think you even had a 2 for 1 deal at one point. Okay?
Now I heard that's the most recent one. Yep.
Right? So you're having 2 for 1
Yep.
deals, a 2 for 1 special. What the hell? You're done. So to think that you can still go along with this arrogance really is the buffoonery of it all. It's just the buffoonery. But also I think what really hit it, like what started to close that coffin, was him going
Hmm.
online with Danny Lay and embarrassing the hell up out of that girl while
Yeah, I'm
while
saying,
his child was there. While his child was there, I
yeah,
think
it was a
that's
gradual death for
when it was
sure.
closed. That's when it was closing the
Hmm.
cop. But as far as
Oh
I'm
yeah,
concerned, I really hope, the baby, that you did put up some of that money. I hope you
yeah,
invested some of that money. I hope you were smart enough, to say, okay, I this isn't gonna last forever. So let me make sure
yeah. And if
I
he wa-
get this straight.
and if he wasn't, the signs are there, buddy. Start doing that now. Start
Right,
investing, start get buying up those businesses. You know, liquidate some of your homes if you
right.
have to,
Sell some of that
and just
jewelry
make
you
sure you
have.
set yourself up.
Yeah, sell some of that jewelry.
I mean, he's a hustler. I think he'll be all right, but I think his rap career is on its way. We might have to hold a funeral
No,
for
it's
it.
done. Done.
and
Done.
uh, and
It's
so
done.
here are the signs. So we're saying Wagwan for real. I think you made the perfect question. You posed the perfect question, because it's like, do you not know? Like, he's doing interviews. He's trying really hard to like promote his album and his concerts, and it's like you're right. It's like, does he know? Does he know it's done? Like, I mean, I know you
Yes,
can't just give up, lay
it's
down, and die. I appreciate the effort. I definitely appreciate
done.
the
He just
effort, but
know it's done. It's done.
here's where he lost me. Here's where he lost me. He lost me when he went on his Instagram and made this video where he said people think, oh, when people think, I want to look at it. It's essentially saying like when people think the baby fell off, and then he's laying on the ground with all his jewelry and is surrounded by all his cars, and they shoot to his house and he has all these stacks of money. I'm like, that doesn't mean shit.
Not a damn thing.
Your career could still be in the drain and you have that stuff. Like, there's residuals, but we're seeing the signs are there. It's like, sign the play the trumpets, like dun, 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 like it's almost over. Like,
It's
plan
done.
plan plan for that, the baby. That's all I gotta say. Plan for that, because
Well,
while gone for real, I
yeah,
think your career is over. I
yeah,
think your
it's a
career is
done
over.
deal. I'm telling you, Jeanette, listen, this man is still on cloud nine. Okay, he still thinks his head is the biggest thing in the room. Okay, he really is up on cloud nine, and he thinks of himself really highly. Okay, however,
Mm-hmm.
you've done too damn much. Okay, in your
Yep.
career, the type of drama that surrounded the baby's career is like, it's the
And you know
equivalent
what's so
of like
crazy?
it's the equivalent of a really famous person's entire career. Like, he's
Yeah.
done so much too soon is what I'm
He's
trying to
done
say.
so much in the past 2 years.
You just came out too much too soon. As soon as you came out, you shot the boy
Yeah.
in Walmart. Like, really? You
Mm-hmm.
shot the kid and killed the kid in Walmart, bro. Like, you
Mm.
done too much. You done too much. And now it's come to the point where you
Yeah.
can't side. You can't. When you're having a 2 for 1, I'm sorry. Whenever I look at a business, I know I'm gonna
And
digress
you
for a
know,
second.
what's so crazy? The 2 for 1, the tickets are only $22 plus
You,
a service fee.
Jeanette,
That's what's so sad.
Jeanette, like,
We're
stop.
not
We're
talking
done.
about $100 tickets here.
Oh, we're not even $100. Okay, like, it's done. It's done. It's done. But what I want to say is, when you look at a business, right, like a new up and coming business, and first they have all this advertisements and they want to get you into the store, but then 6 months passes and you
Mm,
see that they don't do too well. What's the first thing that they start doing? Selling every damn thing. 2 for 1 this,
mm.
80% off, 50% off. That's like your career. That's like your career. This is the equivalent to your career because now you're starting a 2 for 1 for $22. No, it's a done deal, bro. Pack it up. Try and invest in something else, man. Gaming systems or something because it's over for you. It's over as far as I'm concerned. It's done. So the
Yeah,
baby,
it's the signs are there.
the baby, find something else to do. That's all I. That's all I can say. Find something else to do. Hopefully those baby mothers that you have that you treated like shit,
Hmm.
they won't take you to child support. You know what I mean? Because that could really run a man, you know, down in his pockets if he has child support. And how many baby mothers do you have again? Anyway, not even going there. But you know what? Kudos to you, Mr. DaBaby. But DaBaby, your career is done. Thank you. Wrap that up because this man, it's he's a done deal.
That's all I have to say. I mean, the signs are there. You can't sell tickets. Like that's how an artist makes money. Even if you were streaming really well, the money's not. That's not where you're getting your money. You're getting your money off the shows. So if you are not filling your events to capacity, like you said, the Alabama one where he only sold 500 tickets, that wasn't even 50% of the capacity of the room.
For
So
sure.
it's like,
Uh,
the baby is
it's a
he needs
dunner.
to act he needs to act quick and get out of
Yeah,
the clouds.
yeah. Please make your head small. But anyways, we're gonna move on from the baby because really and truly, it's a hopeless case. The baby. You have to you need to go away someplace for a while and transform your life and transform yourself and come back refreshed and maybe people might listen to your music again. But in the meantime, we're gonna
Yeah, I
move
feel
on.
like he never went away. Like he needed to be quiet for a little bit,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Like what he's done should have, spanned across a 20-year career. Okay, all in like 2 years. Like relax, go away somewhere on a retreat, go better yourself, come back, kumbaya, and maybe
Yeah,
go listen to your stuff. But in the
do the whole
meantime,
process. Yeah, and people will be more willing.
right?
Mhm.
They'll be more willing. That's right.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, we're gonna move on from the baby because yeah. Uh, and we're gonna go into the call out. Yes. So this is where we put each other into the hot seat. Me and Jeanette, we question each other with questions that have to be answered. So, but I want to keep this call out kind of light because there's been
Mhm.
lots of heavy news that we've been talking about this segment. Sorry, this episode. So
Mhm.
my question is, what is the weirdest thing a roommate or house guest has ever done? I'll go first. So when I
Ooh, this is a good
yes,
one.
right. So when I lived in university, me and Jeanette went to the same university. She actually lived across the street from where I used to live in
You
I
mean
lived
when
with
he lived in Windsor?
yes, when I lived in Windsor, Ontario. That is correct. So she lived across the
Mhm.
street in a house with her roommates, and I had roommates too. And one of the roommates
Mhm.
that I have, boy, I love her. I really do. Don't get me wrong when I'm talking about this because I'm not trying to shade her. I really am not. I haven't seen or spoken to her in many years, but whenever I do see her, it's like we pick up from jump. So she was my roommate, and she's gonna remain nameless. But she did
Yes.
some real odd stuff. Real odd. Okay? One story. So I'm her roommate, and we go to the same university. We don't have the same schedule. And at the time, we were staying back for the summer. So me
Okay.
and this one roommate, there was four of us, two of us were staying back. So me and this roommate stayed back, and I saw her around, not just at home, but I saw her off of campus and stuff like that. And one day I went into the 7-Eleven. Yeah, they still have 7-Eleven up there. Yeah. Here in Toronto, we ain't you have to search hard and high and low for a 7-Eleven. But anyways, we went into the 7-Eleven, and as I was walking into the store, she was standing at the cash register. And I am a hefty bosom woman. I have big boobies, okay? Let's just put it out there. So as I'm walking towards her, she literally put out her hands like she's gonna cup my breast. Yet she's heterosexual. Okay. So she's heterosexual woman who likes men, and I'm walking into a store. In a store, the 7-Eleven, and by the way, this particular 7-Eleven, everybody and their mother went to this 7-Eleven because it was right beside campus. So
Mhm.
I'm walking in, and this girl put out her hands to gesture like she's gonna cup my breast. And I was like, what? No, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? So I walked away like around her, right? So she's standing
Mhm.
at the counter waiting to pay. So I go about my
Mhm.
business in the store, whatever. Found what I wanted, and it just so happened that by the time I went up to the counter to pay, she just happened to finish paying just moments before me.
Yeah.
And this heifer comes up from behind me and cups my breast.
She actually did it again.
She
Oh
did
my
it again.
god. I thought that was the end of the
Did
story. I didn't.
okay. I was like, yo, bro, like I had to push her off me, and she. I'm not gonna say what she did because that would give it out. That would give it away because she's very
Mhm.
popular in this particular arena. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right, so she has some strength to her. Okay, I'll just
Mhm.
say that she has some. You understand? And it very much put me off because I was like, you fully violated me in a public setting. What the hell? Now I have to go home and cook beside you? Like what the hell? What the hell is going on in the world? So that is my
That's
crazy
funny.
ass shit.
That is so funny. I know
I
what you're
don't
talking
know.
about. I think you'd have told me that story, but
Yes,
I
I
didn't know she did. She
that she did. She did came right behind me like a dude would, bro.
okay. Yes, that's the odd part. I
And
feel like
the
the
thing
first
is
one could have
that
been.
that wasn't the only time. She literally was infatuated with my breasts, like literally infatuated. And I think it's because she didn't have big breasts herself. Like, she,
Mhm.
very lean and fit type girl. And
Mhm.
she could eat you out of house and home and not gain a pound. That's the type of girl she is, okay?
Mhm.
And she had small,
That has
size.
changed, but yes.
Yeah, well, the last time I saw her, yeah, I was like, yeah, I catch up to you now, don't. But because this girl could, no, she could yam food, you see? Lord Jesus, this girl can yam our food. She could eat a medium pizza, go to the Chinese store, get, chicken wings and fried rice, a whole
Damn.
2 liter a bottle of pop, okay, come back and eat like a family sized bag of Doritos, okay, and still be like, oh, is
Jesus.
there any ice cream around? I'm like, girl, like,
Mm-mm.
I'm bigger
Mhm.
than her and I couldn't eat that. I was like, girl, she
Mm-mm.
could eat a whole pizza too. I seen it with my own two eyes. And at one time I had to ask her, are you like, do we have an eating disorder of some kind that we need to talk about? Because
Right? Yeah, that's a good question.
no, it really scared me because I was like, I'm a big girl and I'm almost twice her size, and I couldn't dare,
Mhm.
even if I wanted to, I couldn't put away the type of food
Mhm.
that this girl puts away. But anyways, that was my story. So let's not stray away. What's the answer to the question? What is the weirdest
Okay.
thing a roommate or house guest has
Mine.
done?
Okay. I. Mine's is what in my. Okay. Yeah. So. Uh. I was pretty like my uni roommates were pretty normal. If anything, I was the weird one. So I'll talk about my first adult one, who
Yes.
when I moved into my place, and I moved into my place, I was not able to financially pay my mortgage. alone with the salary I was making, so I needed to get a roommate. And I got this young lady from out of town who said she was
Yup.
going to school because I said in my posting I wanted somebody who
Love
was
it.
going to school and working full time or going to school full time, right? And she came and she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing nursing, blah 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 blah." Anyway, long story short, when she moved in, her boyfriend who's like literally a 50-year-old man. Okay, so I already
Oh,
peeped that
yuck.
from when I met him. I was like, "Sugar daddy." Okay. And
Sugar
so
baby.
here's what she did that was weird. She was like an exhibitionist. So whether it was him or anybody else, she would be putting on a show. I'm like, there's no reason to be that loud. Like, there's just no reason when they're having their, intimate moments. They're so loud. And something that she was weird, what was weird that she did every time he came over, she's like, "Oh, let's say I'm going to give him a name. Let's say his name is Amir. Let's say his name is Amir." So every
Bob.
time Amir came, I was going to say Bob, but
Bob.
I wanted to go, I didn't want to be generic. I was going to say Bob, but let's say Amir. So anytime Amir came, she's like, "Jeanette, Amir's here," because I met him when he moved in, so he's always like, "Oh, Amir's here, come say hi." Amir's because I'll just like if you have company, I'll just stay in my room. It's fine. Like I have all my comforts are in my room. Only reason I come out of my room is to make food or whatever, right? And I'm like, why the heck? Like, I don't care. Like, I mean, sure, like, you're a good person, but like, have your moment. Like, why do I have to see him every time? And she like, oh, he'd be like, oh, you guys have a drink with us, have a drink with us. And after at first, I was like, I didn't think anything of it. I think it's just because I met him, and maybe he doesn't. It feels weird that he's here and doesn't say hi. Like he's just respectful. Maybe that's why. But after I'm like, no, 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 no. So a certain line of questioning and everything. And so I kind of feel like she was trying to pop something off, between both of
Damn.
them because he was a freak too. He was a freaky. I
Uh,
don't. He was old, but after talking to them, I picked up he's a damn freaky man. So that
mm-mm.
was like a scenario there. I mean, I nipped it in
Right.
the bud, but
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, so what's your question
So
then?
yeah, I was gonna be like, okay, so I don't know where I came across something, but led me to ask this question. So do you think? So we know, like in dating rituals, right? There's always a certain pattern, at least old school. I think it's changed a lot in the past few years, but old school, you typically go to dinner, movie, whatever, and you end the night, and then there's always that debate whether should we kiss or not, right? So that's what my question is going to be. Now it's probably coffee, and you go for a walk. Now that's your first. You're not going to go through all that, which I commend. No
Right.
need to go sit with somebody for 2+ hours, and you're just like, get me out of here. But
Right.
what do you think of the kiss on the first date? Is that a yay or a nay? Or
Uh,
depends?
it depends. I really do think it depends because
Mm-hmm.
I think when you are older and you kind of know what you
Mm-hmm.
want and you're not willing to like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like you don't want to play around, you're not up for the playing around and all that. And you
Yes.
get to
Yeah.
go out with somebody and you do the traditional dating, movie, dinner, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you enjoy their
Mm-hmm.
company and they enjoy yours. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there's anything wrong with, giving a little peck or
Yeah.
whatever. But I do agree with
Yes. I agree.
mystery. Us women, like, we got it all wrong. A lot of us women have it all wrong. That men like mystery, they like the chase. If they get it all up front,
Mm-hmm.
then why am I pursuing you anymore? I got what I wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, not every relationship is just based off of a sexual relationship or anything like that. And so, if a man is trying to court you and he wants to kiss you or you want to kiss him, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
However, I'm not saying to go out and kiss every Tom, Dick, and Harry just because they said you're pretty. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like,
Yes. Like
no,
that's
you don't
yeah.
need to do all of that. But obviously, it all depends on the vibe. It's about the vibe. The
Yeah.
vibe. If the vibe is there, and you're grown, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I think there's no hard line, and it depends on, and I guess it depends too. Is it a cold first date? Cold first date meaning like maybe you met them online and like this is the first time you're literally seeing them physically,
Exactly.
or
Or the
sometimes
first time.
there's different kinds of other first dates where you may have known this person or been around this person for a little bit, and this is like your first official, like you guys are going the dating route now. So maybe there's already a built-in comfortability that's already there. So obviously that's a different scenario. But I guess yeah, it comes down to depends. And here's my thing. I think, but my assumption, I'm going in this assuming it's a cold first date. And I
Right.
think, yeah, I think it depends. And like if the vibe is there, if you feel safe, you feel like you feel safe, you feel attraction, and you want to see that person again. Nothing wrong with that. And I say the peck, but I think I asked this, like, it's like some people are presumptuous, like they're trying to fully put their tongue in your mouth, and that's where I
Yeah.
was like, the question came from.
With
It's
all
like
the
thinking
COVID
about,
that's going on, how dare you?
well,
Oh my gosh.
now people are, yeah, like with COVID, that's like sounds disgusting, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, especially if I don't get to see your full vaccination report. But no, but no, but for real, for real. I mean, I don't. I think yeah, it can be. Some people can be presumptuous. They can and think that not even so much
Yes, that's
that
the
it's a
thing.
tongue, French kissing, but that they can do other
Mm.
things like touch you inappropriately that you're not ready
Touch,
for.
yeah, that too.
And
Like you have
that
to read the room.
you have to read the room and read it well. And
Mm.
obviously, you're not just going to go out with a stranger, right?
No,
You're going to do your investigative work. You're going to go to a place where it's a public place where you feel comfortable and safe, And
hmm,
so once you start to feel out the person and you get to, you know, I don't think that there's anything really wrong with
there's
that.
nothing
I
wrong with
really
it.
don't.
It's good. It's actually,
No.
yeah. But I think here, I guess the scenario I'm thinking of is, what if you go and you have just an okay date, like you're still on the fence, but because the person can't read the room, they're making a move, and you're like,
Right. And
uh,
that's when I put my
I don't
hand
like you
to
like
your
that.
lips. Right? Like that's when I
Yeah,
put my
then you're
hand
gonna
up.
have to,
Oh, sir. Like, sir, no, no.
sir, please read the room.
Like, but for the most part, I mean, you're gonna know, right? Like,
Yes, yeah, I should.
you're not a teenager where it's your first love and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you've been around the block a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to feel it out. And if it feels right
Hopefully.
for you, well, hopefully. And you know what? Any guy that comes off very, presumptuous or arrogant or it's an all
Yes.
right date, that's a friend zone type of situation. That's a friend zone. You're in the friend zone
Mm.
until further notice, right?
To further notice.
Right. That's where you're gonna stay until I'm ready. But if that's the case, you don't have to, or let it be known
Turn the
that you're in
cheek.
the friend zone. No, I don't even want you that close to
Yeah.
my face with all the things that are going on out here. Listen, you better not
That's
come too close to me. I don't know you
that's
like that yet.
true.
Like
Good
in the
point. This
sense
is
where
2022.
you gotta be careful, right? So it has to be a vibe. You gotta be okay with the vibe. But you know what? I think as an adult, once you've dated once or twice, or you've gone around the block once or twice, you can pick it up whether this is
Mm.
for you or not. You know what I mean? And if you do, like who are you trying to impress, or who are you trying to, you know, like once you're grown, you do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as long as it's not hurting anybody, do what you want to do. If you want to kiss the guy. If you don't, hey, then you don't. You have that,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? But to say that you don't want to do it because of what people might think, or you don't
No,
want to
no,
do
no.
it
You're a grown ass person. Yeah.
all that. Like I'm a grown ass woman at this point. I really don't give a shit. And I can't wait to a point where I'm like these older people who really don't give a shit. Like they really don't give a shit.
Mhm.
Walk and do as the hell they want to do. Like it or lump it, they're gonna do what they want to do. So I can't wait to get to that point where I really don't give a damn. Um, but for the most part, in this case, kiss the boy, yeah. Kiss the boy. But we'll move on at this point. From the call out into the workouts. This is where we take the time and we work out our hearts and exercise our mental fitness. We do a deep dive discussion on issues that are affecting our culture, that's impacting our culture. And today I want to talk about the non-centered comedy. Is it dying? Is it dying? As far as I'm concerned, is dead. Is dead, Joe. But we will talk about it. And so, the non-censored comedy, just so that we have a framework to work around. This is when back in the day, comedy was funny. You can
Mm.
say it, say what you wanted, how you wanted it. Everybody could get it, whether you were black or Chinese or Indian, everybody could get it. Okay. And I think it allowed us to comedy back then to laugh at ourselves and to have a sense of humor um, around issues that really can be very politically driven. Now, we see what's been happening with comedy. We see, and I'm going to say comedy has taken a turn. This is my opinion, has taken a turn since the
Mhm.
slap that Will Smith delivered to Chris Rock. Comedy, it's changed from before that in terms of censorship, but in terms of
Yeah.
comedians really having to watch what they do and say, I feel like it changed since
Mhm.
then, since the slap of a century. Um, that will never be forgotten, Will. It will never be forgotten. I don't care what you think you're doing. If you go on hiatus long enough, it will never be forgotten. It was literally heard around the world. So now that we look at comedy in this day and age, and we look at someone like Dave Chappelle, for instance, as we were talking about earlier in our segment, our current news type, hot news type segment, was that he had to deliver his monologue very carefully, and he had to be very strategic with the words that he used. And
Mhm.
comedy back in when I was growing
Mhm.
up, I grew up with people who were considered very funny, like Richard Pryor, like Bill Cosby, you know, um, Eddie Murphy. I grew up in a time where you said whatever got you laughs, literally, whatever got you laughs, and they would take current events
Mhm.
and base their whole skit off of it. Now, what we see here is massively censored comedy. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna open the question to you, or in general here, as the non-censored comedy died. I say yes.
Um. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. To be honest, I'm not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just. It is. It just is what it is. It's like, yeah. It's there's just so much with the virality or viral social posts and stuff like that and Twitter and all of that. Um, it could be career ending because you could be doing your quote unquote job as a comedian by making people laugh and not punching down, but everybody can, or every group and every identity is going to get these jokes. But there could be a group or a clip that is very loud that could potentially put you under fire. And even if it doesn't hurt your pockets, because I mean, if you're a big enough comedian, your fans will follow you wherever you go. It might not necessarily affect your pockets, but you're just getting harassed. You're getting a lot of criticism. There's no way to block that out. So it could affect you in many ways outside of just financial implications.
Right.
And I do think it's gone. I think it's is with the rise of Twitter, the Me Too movement, and just the sensitivity and identity politics. It's yeah, like it's just completely gone. But Cat Williams was asked this question, and his response was pretty poignant. And I think it was a good response. And I think it's just the way there's just a new way that these comedians have to approach comedy,
Yeah.
and is that you just have to get better at writing jokes. You can't just go in. Like you need to make sure, and that's why we talk about Dave Chappelle being the only one, because he if you pay attention to how he structures a joke or tells a story, because sometimes there's a punchline, but there's more of a there more is the lead up to the punchline is what's important. The punchline
Right.
is just a punchline because he's a comedian, you have to laugh. But what you have to do, and essentially what Cat Williams was saying, is you just have to be more clever in how you deliver the joke, because you can make a joke about, say, a particular person or identity or whatever, but if you structure it a certain way, people will, and like you're not punching down and it's very nuanced. I think there's a way to do it. You can still do it, but you can't just go in guns blazing. Like you have to walk that fine line, and and that's a skill. I think that's a skill that everybody has.
That is true.
Um,
That is true.
but like I think, like for example, we were talking about Dave Chappelle's monologue on SNL. That was like a master class in walking that line and constructing a joke without punching down, but still observing a reality. We're observing the reality of what we're seeing in the world. It's satirical, but we are making an observation in the real world.
But okay. Okay.
And it's funny, I saw a quote. Yeah.
No, no, go on. You saw a quote.
Okay, yeah, before, yeah. So I just saw this quote from comedian Jon Stewart, and I believe he's Jewish. And he was saying that a lot of people are calling him about the Dave Chappelle thing. The other thing is he is close friends with Dave Chappelle, very close friends. And he was on Colbert, and Colbert was asking him, and he says, and his response was, whether it be comedy or discussion or anything else, if we don't have the wherewithal to meet each other with what's reality, then how do we move forward? If all we do is shut it down, which is censorship, we
Yep.
retreat to our little corners of misinformation, and it metastasizes, which is like when a cancer cell regenerates and recreates and recreates. The whole point of all this is to not let it metastasize and get it up and get it out in the air and talk about it. So I love that point where he's making here. It's like there's no power. There's censorship is also dangerous. If it's
Yes.
there, if
Yes,
there's
it
a
is.
if it's a narrative, if it's something that's out in the atmosphere, let's tackle it. Let's approach it. Don't silence it. Let's really talk about this. And that's where I stand on the whole thing. Like I do not believe in censorship, even if it's race, even if it's something against my community.
Right.
If somebody
Yeah.
is saying something that it's dangerous for that to be being said behind closed doors. I rather know what people are saying out in the public, whether it's
That's
hurtful
right.
or not, than to be these conversations happening behind closed doors.
Right.
You know what I
That's the
mean?
thing.
I think that's
No,
a real dangerous.
well, I here's the thing is that I agree with you 100% that it's a dangerous thing
Yes.
because that's where our society was prior to this day and age. Was we kept everything
Mm-hmm. That's
behind closed
true.
doors. Okay?
Yeah.
1950s, 60s, 70s, even up into the 80s. You know, everything was behind a closed door. People were being sexually harassed behind closed
Mm-hmm.
doors. People were committing suicide because they couldn't be who they felt they were behind
Mm-hmm.
closed doors. You know, young children are being abused behind closed doors. There's
Mm-hmm.
issues that need to be discussed.
Yep.
And the one thing I will say specifically as a black person was imagine if Martin Luther King stayed behind closed doors. Imagine if he never went beyond the pupil, the pulpit of his church.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
and stayed behind closed doors, where would we be right now? Right? So the conversation always needs to be had. It always needs to be had. And in order for us to go forward as a progressive society, we need to be able to discuss and have dialect and conversations about topics and issues that can be uncomfortable. This is why I like comedy, because comedy gave many people who didn't have a voice a voice.
Mhm.
Even though they're laughing, you go home, you might think about that joke. There were people like Richard Pryor. If you go back to Richard Pryor and his stand up comedy,
Oh.
he
Whew.
would be annihilated in today's day. You understand what I'm
Oh,
saying?
hell yeah.
He would be, but he talked about social issues and injustices that were happening to people every single day. And he was able to do it so openly because of comedy. Comedy has, if you really think about history, has worked hand in hand with the civil rights movement. Comedy has given a voice to a lot of people who would have never have had a voice. If you look at Dave Chappelle's career and you listen to him and where he started from to where he is right now, he talks about a lot of issues in his comedy that are happening in our community every single day. He's talking about it. Yes, he's putting a comic relief behind the heavy topic, but he's talking about it. The little white guy who might have a racist bone in his body might go to a Dave Chappelle concert or comedy show, hear his act, and take away from it something that could be profound. So when we're talking about censoring people, we have to understand that we're also saying we want to shut down all conversation,
Yes,
because
that's the danger.
that is the biggest danger.
Mhm.
That really is the danger. It's not being able to
Mhm.
say what you want when you want to, but it's
Mhm.
the absence of it is the danger.
Yeah.
And I think that in comedy, it's a way for specifically my culture, my black people, to get over the have a comic relief. As we know and
Mhm.
we see it every day, black people deal with microaggressions every single day. Can I get a joke? Can I laugh? Please, sir. Okay? Can I release some of that tension and that stress that I'm dealing with every day?
Yeah.
So when we're coming down on comedians or we're treating them how they've been treated in the last, little while, we have to understand that we're eliminating um, a sector as Black people where we can express ourselves and comic relief in our lives on our day to day. So I don't believe in censorship.
No.
I think
Mhm.
the only one that can judge me is God. And at the end of the day, if you don't like what I have to say, turn off the damn TV. Okay? If you don't like what happened to
Mhm.
people's choices, Jeanette? What happened to people's choices?
Yeah. We
Oh,
all have a choice. We don't have to.
you can't change the
We
channel
don't
that
have to watch.
you
Yeah.
have to watch. Like you can make uh uh your own decision. You can make an executive call. We're not watching that.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yep.
So
Simple.
it's as simple as that. So why would we want to take away our voice? It just doesn't make any logical sense why we'd want to do that
No.
when the
We live in a
choice is so
free.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
why
think
would we
it's.
want to take away our voice for such an
Yeah.
turn off the damn flipping TV, change the channel, swipe left, do what you got to do, but don't censor every little thing that comes out of people's mouths. And also, like with this whole Non-censored comedy. I'm sorry, comedy is taking a dump. It's right in the dumps for me. I
Hmm.
used to stay in tune with a lot of comedians, and I know Jeanette will probably disagree with me on this one because she's like, "No, I stay up with some comedians and think," and that might be true. And that might be true. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like comedy is
Hmm.
taking uh, it's taken a dive, and until
Hmm.
more comedians can get on the bandwagon that Cat Williams had mentioned and become more clever in
Hmm.
their art form, then it just seems to be kind of trashy. Now, maybe like it's just in the dumps for me because I come from a generation where they express themselves. You don't like that joke? Oh well, wait for the next one. You know,
Hmm.
um, and so I just find that having to always be so politically correct all the time, those little nuances of a skit are have been lost. For me. So,
Hmm.
we can agree that non-censored comedy is definitely dead. Not dying. It's dead. It's dead. Um
Yeah, pretty
it's not
much.
coming back. It's not coming back till people learn how to lighten up a little. When you go to a comedy club, it's so that you can lighten up, okay? And that you can take a joke and that
I feel like if you, sorry to cut you,
no,
but I feel like one thing I think I can appreciate is if you were to go to like a comedian who came here locally in a local comedy bar or situation, I think we would get that comedy. But the specials, we'd get a little break from the censorship. But I feel like the specials, you don't have a choice because the specials are on streaming services, and millions of people are going to watch them. So you have to be careful.
right?
But maybe that's the way you only way you're going to get it to that point is you're going to have to like leave your house and check them out.
I guess so. I guess so. And even those people though, you have to wonder, like, are they told the do's and don'ts? Like, are they told,
Mm,
when they get a job or they get a gig, yo, don't talk about no Jewish people up in here. Don't talk about the fat women up in here. Don't talk about transvestites up in here. Keep it
mhm.
clean, keep it classy, and that's what we're seeing. That if they were really able to just set themselves free and not really have to, worry about what they're saying, you know, I guess them losing their job or not being paid or having people come for them.
I think it's self censorship because you're learning, right? It's like as you learn like a child, you learn by little things. Oh, if I make a mess, mommy will be upset, right? So it's
Right.
like I don't think somebody anybody's telling them not like see there's this power, that higher power that's dictating it. But I think you're learning, you're seeing what's going on, right? And the backlash and everything. You're like, oh, gotta tread lightly there, don't want that to happen to me, kind of that kind of stuff. And then there's self censorship.
Right. Right. Which is self
But
imposed.
either way, it's bad. It does come either way. It comes down to censorship, which is a
Yeah.
problem.
Right. Because you feel like you have to, right? Or you're going to lose the gig.
Hmm.
But,
Hmm.
you know what? Either way, I do hope that, comedy does take a different turn and not,
Hopefully, yeah. We're just an
yeah,
extreme side.
yeah, because
Like
at
you
this
know how
point,
things get extreme for a while, and
yes,
then it just goes back.
yes, that's true. And I am praying that that is going to be the case. Like I really am, because I don't know, it's just not what it used to be. But then again, that's what my parents say to me all the time. It's just not what it used to be. And with that said, everybody, we do hope that you were able to take from this episode what you will. Um, but we're not censored over here, so drop us a comment. We would love to hear something from you guys, but drop us a comment. You can say whatever the hell you want to say. Um, we'll take it with a grain of salt. But with that being said,
Yeah.
we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. And so, if you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful, everyone. We will talk to y'all soon enough. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.